Prophetic alert. You work in accounting. A secret plot is blocking your financial breakthrough. There is a stirring in the spiritual realm, and Archangel Michael is sounding the alert. This message is not by chance. It is divinely timed, heaven sent, and charged with authority. You who work in accounting, you who steward the numbers, manage the balance sheets, and hold the flow of finances in your hands. There is a divine spotlight on your position right now. There has been a divine review of your situation, and the light of truth has illuminated something hidden in the shadows. What you thought was a delay is not natural. What you've been calling a slow season is not coincidence. It is sabotage, intentional, disguised, and spiritually coordinated. Behind desks, behind conference doors, behind digital threads you cannot see, something has been moving. There is a secret conversation, a quiet, strategic manipulation designed to keep your breakthrough from arriving. It is not about a simple oversight or missed promotion. This is deeper. You have been identified as a threat. You were noticed not just for your skill, but for your spiritual anointing. And so a plot has been formed, one that attempts to delay, confuse, and mislabel your work. But heaven is intervening. The delay has been reviewed by higher authority. The sabotage has been exposed in the spirit before it ever had the chance to strike in the natural. And now, Archangel Michael brings this word to your ears because it is time for justice. Heaven hath been watching how you've carried your responsibilities with integrity, with diligence, and with faith. You didn't seek promotion through flattery. You didn't chase attention. You showed up and worked, day after day, week after week, holding the weight of others' carelessness, absorbing the pressure, and still remaining accurate. The consistency is not going to notice. And because of your humility and truthfulness, the divine realm is shifting things in your favor. But before the blessing is released, you must be made aware of the spiritual obstruction that's been attempting to intercept it. Archangel Michael is speaking because the breakthrough you've been praying for is being unlocked, and the interference must now be named. It must now be uprooted. It must now be removed. Archangel Michael speaks now, as the realm of light opens above you. Be alert. Be discerning. Be still. Something is shifting in your professional atmosphere, and it is not just a simple restructuring. It is not just office politics. It is not a missed call or overlooked email. It is spiritual sabotage cloaked in workplace formality. In the next 72 hours, there will be movement, not loud, but subtle, not open, but decisive. Heaven has observed the interference, and now the trumpet sounds. This message has reached you because your spirit has cried out for clarity, and clarity is arriving, not with chaos, but with command. There is a presence around you, a protective force that has been silently standing guard. You sensed it when your spirit grew restless. You felt it when certain faces smiled, but your heart withdrew. That was not anxiety. That was revelation. You are being spiritually guarded because your position is not ordinary. You were not placed in your role just to manage budgets or review transactions. You were placed as a steward, as a trusted gatekeeper of divine flow. That is why the resistance has risen. That is why opposition has grown bolder. And that is why Archangel Michael now steps forward to reveal what the natural world has failed to say aloud. There is urgency here. This is not a message to store away or casually reflect on later. The time is now. In the spirit, paperwork is being rearranged. Assignments are being corrected. And angels are standing at the borders of your workplace, not with swords of violence, but with scrolls of divine authority. You are about to see what was hidden. You are about to understand what was masked. And you are about to walk into a version of your future that was nearly blocked, but no longer. Type "I am protected" in the comments to unlock divine clearance. Blessing code 1777 is now encircling your assignment. There are whispers moving through the atmosphere, not the kind spoken openly in meetings or shared in emails, but the kind that ride on glances, concealed comments, and unspoken agendas. Someone in your professional orbit, possibly even within the same department or chain of command, have been paying attention to you, but not in admiration. No, this is something else. They've been watching your diligence with a hidden resentment. They've been monitoring your accuracy with discomfort. And they've been quietly collecting information, framing narratives, and bending impressions in ways that you wouldn't notice, not unless you were spiritually alert. This person is not always obvious. They might greet you in the hallway, ask you questions in team meetings, or even compliment your work in group threads. But behind closed doors, their conversation changes. When your name comes up in higher-level meetings, their tone shifts, subtly discrediting, masking concern as critique. They're moving too fast, they whisper. They're missing things, they imply. I just think we should double-check their numbers, they offer, masking a slow-moving sabotage as professional caution. It sounds reasonable on the surface, but make no mistake, it is envy, masked as accountability. You may have felt it in your spirit already, that quiet discomfort, that strange shift in how others speak to you, how they pause before responding, how things once fluid have begun to feel delayed or restricted. You're not imagining it. Heaven says your discernment is working. A spiritual disruptor has identified you as a threat to their comfort zone. Your excellence, your precision, your refusal to engage in gossip or flattery, all of that has made them uncomfortable. And instead of rising to your level, they've chosen to pull you down with whispers. There is a file, physical or digital, where your name is highlighted. Something about a transaction, a review, or a financial adjustment has become their tool. Not because it was incorrect, but because it could be manipulated. A fragment of truth taken out of context. A number without explanation. An error that wasn't yours, now somehow linked to your ID. This is not a mistake. This is manufactured doubt. And the people around you have only seen the surface. They don't know the full context. They've heard one version of the story, the distorted version. And now, the seed of uncertainty has been planted in the minds of decision makers. That's why this prophetic alert has arrived. Archangel Michael says, they've uncovered something, but only a fragment. They think they've found a reason to stall your progress. They think they've uncovered an issue. But what they've found is only a thread, and not the full garment. And if heaven had not stepped in today, that fragment could have been enough to cause pause, delay, or even derailment. But the Spirit of Truth is intervening, and your innocence will not be hidden much longer. You see, in the spirit realm, no manipulation goes unseen. Every whispered word, every distorted fact, every email sent in false concern is recorded. There are divine ledgers, not just financial ones, and they are being reviewed. Heaven's hand is now uncovering the veil. A spotlight is being directed toward motives, not just metrics. And what was hidden in shadows is being forced into exposure. Emotionally, this may feel disorienting. You've trusted the process. You've believed that hard work would be enough. You've stayed silent, thinking excellence would protect you. And in most cases, it would. But when spiritual jealousy enters the room, logic flees. That's why heaven is not asking you to explain yourself. This is beyond logic. This is warfare, subtle but significant. You have been a quiet storm of integrity. And now, that silence has unnerved someone who thrives on manipulation. There may be moments in the coming hours where you feel a strange pull in your chest, a heaviness that seems irrational. Do not dismiss it. That's your spirit alerting you to spiritual interference. That's your divine inner compass trying to show you what eyes cannot yet see. Pay attention. Someone is misreading your silence. They are misinterpreting your humility. They think your quiet nature means you are unaware. But what they don't know is this: you are backed by the kingdom. And heaven does not stay silent when its chosen are under attack. Type "their plan will fail" in the comments. This is your spiritual rejection of false narratives. Blessing code 2666 is now breaking confusion off your name. This is not personal. It's spiritual. Let that settle into your heart. Let it rearrange your perception of everything happening around you right now. Because when spiritual warfare cloaks itself in workplace procedures, when sabotage disguises itself as routine scrutiny, and when envy is repackaged as professional feedback, it can be disorienting. It can cause you to doubt your instincts. It can make you question your worth. But Archangel Michael comes now with divine clarity. What you are experiencing is not random office tension. It is warfare over your divine assignment. You were not just placed in accounting because of your qualifications. You were positioned there by divine intent. You carry a calling that is cloaked in spreadsheets. You walk with authority even when you speak in balance sheets. And while others see your role as numerical, heaven sees it as prophetic. You are handling more than numbers. You are stewarding flow, order, and trust. And for that reason, spiritual resistance has noticed your presence. Your work brings alignment. Your spirit brings peace. Your accuracy disturbs chaos. And those who operate in confusion, manipulation, or hidden agenda cannot thrive when someone like you stands in the room. The enemy does not attack what is irrelevant. The plot forming behind the scenes is not accidental. It is a response to your light. This isn't just workplace tension. It's spiritual tension. You are a mirror. You expose what others are trying to hide. Your work reflects integrity. And where there is light, shadows get restless. The one who has been attempting to block your promotion, shift the narrative, or plant seeds of doubt isn't just annoyed. They are spiritually agitated. Because your presence disrupts their control. Your discernment is too sharp. Your instincts too accurate. And most threatening of all, you don't need to manipulate to win. That's why this battle feels so unspoken, yet so loud in your spirit. That's why you feel drained without explanation. Because your spirit is being stretched. Your soul is carrying weight beyond logic. But heaven is with you. And heaven fights for its vessels. You are not ordinary. You are not just another employee on payroll. You are anointed for influence, selected to manage resources, and covered by divine order. The enemy knows that once you step fully into your breakthrough, there will be a ripple effect. Blessings will flow. Others will rise. Systems will shift. That's why resistance showed up right as you neared promotion. That's why suddenly conversations turned colder. Why details began to get questioned. It wasn't about your work. It was about your destiny. But hear this clearly: what God has ordained cannot be blocked by envy. What heaven has sealed cannot be touched by human schemes. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. This moment of resistance is not a denial. It is exposure. Heaven is allowing the conflict to come to the surface so that what has been hidden in shadows can be dealt with in the light. The person or persons behind this plot are revealing their hand, and they don't even realize it. Their actions are becoming evidence. Their whispers are becoming confessions, and heaven is recording it all. You, on the other hand, must stay centered in the spirit. Do not get pulled into the emotional traps. Do not allow offense to blur your focus. Your battle is not with flesh and blood. Your battle is not with emails or audits. This is spiritual. And because it is spiritual, your weapons must also be spiritual. Discernment, silence, faith, and alignment. Your stillness is a sword. Your restraint is a shield. Your posture is praise. Archangel Michael reminds you now, shadows are reacting to your light. That's all this is. This is not the collapse of your career. This is the shaking of old systems that can no longer contain your calling. You are outgrowing this level. Your spirit is too large for small rooms. And every pushback you feel right now is evidence of the truth. You are not the problem. You are the answer. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected to a higher place. The conflict is confirmation. The delay is divine filtration. And the blockages are simply temporary resistance that precedes divine release. Type "I am chosen" for more in the comments. Let heaven witness your agreement. Blessing code 3555 is now writing the story around your name. There is a shaking on the horizon. Not in the natural, not visible to the untrained eye, but in the spirit. It's already begun. The manipulation that has been forming in silence is preparing to take a bolder step. This is your warning. They are planning an action. It may be small at first, a forwarded message, a random audit, a request for clarification on something that's already been resolved. But it will not be random. It will be strategic, intentional, and spiritually charged. This is no longer just observation. The resistance is moving. Archangel Michael has sounded the alarm. You are nearing a moment where the next 72 hours will define everything. A message is being drafted. Not the kind that reaches you directly, but one about you. Someone is compiling half-truths. They are twisting documentation. They are setting the stage for a confrontation that will appear professional, but it will be charged with hidden envy and calculated pressure. It might look like a review. It might sound like a compliance check. But underneath, it will be an attempt to cast doubt on your competence and interrupt your elevation. They are hoping to introduce pause. That's the word being used in the spirit, pause. Not a full dismissal, not an outright accusation, because they know they lack the evidence for that. But enough of a delay to freeze your progress. Enough concern to make leadership question your readiness. Enough manufactured noise to keep your name off the next list of promotions or bonuses. And if you're not spiritually prepared, this tactic could catch you off guard. You might receive an unexpected email, neutral in tone, but unnerving in timing. It may ask you to re-explain a financial report from weeks ago, or to reprocess a transaction that had already been cleared. You might be asked why a specific number was recorded, something standard, now being treated like a red flag. These are not genuine concerns. They are spiritual probes designed to trigger reaction, confusion, or self-doubt. But heaven says, do not panic. You are not under attack. You are under evaluation by heaven, not man. This moment is not to break you, but to expose who's been attempting to. Their steps are now under divine observation. The more they act, the more they reveal. And what they do not know is that by putting your name under false scrutiny, they are activating divine intervention on your behalf. Archangel Michael is placing watchman angels around your digital trails, every file you've touched, every report you've signed, every transaction linked to your ID. There will be divine timestamps, spiritual records, and clarity that confounds confusion. When they attempt to trap you, heaven will lay a trap for them, not in vengeance, but in exposure. Every plan built against you will collapse under the weight of truth. But you must be wise. This is not the time to overreact. This is the time to respond with spiritual accuracy. Your authority is not in a reply email, it's in restraint. Your strength is not in defending your name, it's in letting God defend it for you. You are not a victim in this moment. You are the one whose name carries fire. And those who tamper with divine fire always get burned, not by your hands, but by the consequences of tampering with the chosen. This next action against you may even involve an unexpected meeting. You may be summoned, not harshly but subtly. Can we talk for a moment? They might say, just wanted your take on this discrepancy. They'll suggest. You will know in your spirit. This is not about curiosity. This is about control. They are testing you, probing for weakness, looking for signs of guilt where none exist. But Archangel Michael says this: do not flinch. Do not shrink. Do not waver. Stand tall. Speak only what is needed, and leave the rest in divine hands. This moment is a test, not of your performance, but of your posture. Heaven is not looking for perfection, it's looking for positioning. And you, beloved, are standing right where you need to be. Even now, as this plot intensifies, angels are activating around your assignment. Watch for unusual clarity. Expect accidental slips. Someone will say too much. An email will be missent. A document meant to frame you will reveal their motives instead. Heaven is not late. The plan that is being formed against you will not stand, because it is not just you they are confronting, it is the favor you carry. Type "no weapon formed shall prosper" in the comments. Blessing code 4222 now surrounds your name with spiritual armor. All false actions are being reversed before they even begin. Now is not the time to fight back in the flesh. It is not the time to argue your worth or beg for validation. In the spiritual realm, arguments are distractions. Defending yourself too loudly is often interpreted as insecurity, but your silence, your stillness, your calm presence under pressure, that is a declaration. That is power. That is alignment with the divine strategy now unfolding over your life. And Archangel Michael says to you, stay grounded. Stay silent. Stay sealed. The battle you're in is not against numbers. It's not against spreadsheet systems where salary scaled. It's not about the financial form they claim you filled out incorrectly or the numbers they pretend to question. No. This is about your assignment. The enemy of your soul is trying to provoke you into reaction, to get you to say something unnecessary, to show panic, to doubt your gift. But heaven says, do not move unless the Spirit moves you. This is how spiritual warriors win, not through noise, but through alignment. You must now operate in a state of divine stillness. That does not mean passivity. It means restraint. It means choosing peace over panic, wisdom over worry, discernment over desperation. When they message you with false concern, respond only if led by the Spirit. When they try to bait you into long explanations, let your clarity be brief. When they bring confusion, bring calm. Your stillness will disturb their schemes more than any reaction ever could. Remember this: heaven is already aware. The Spirit has already intervened. There is no need to rush in and try to fix or force anything. Your hands are clean. Your heart is pure. And that is why you are under attack. But it is also why you are under protection. The enemy may have permission to test, but not to triumph. This is a refining fire, not a consuming one. You are walking through it, not to be burned, but to emerge undeniable. You are not being punished. You are being proven. And as this process unfolds, here are the divine instructions you must carry. Let your silence be your strength. You are not obligated to explain rumors. You are not required to defend against shadows. The truth will rise on its own. Let your posture preach. Sit tall. Speak few words. Let your tone be anchored in assurance, not anxiety. Let your excellence testify. Keep doing what you do best. Not louder, not harder, but with precision. Let your consistency become your voice. Let heaven fight for you. When you are being wrongly assessed, remember that you are being divinely evaluated in parallel. What they think they are building against you will collapse. Right now, angels are standing guard over your reputation. There is a spiritual firewall forming around your digital trail. Anything they try to use against you will get caught in that firewall. Their intentions are being seen, their motives exposed, their fake concern decoded by spiritual light. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone in this hour, because God is already proving your favor through your peace. Even when it feels like nothing is moving, trust that everything is moving in your favor. It's being done behind the scenes. The very people meant to speak against you will be silenced by divine interference. Documents meant to harm you will mysteriously vanish or correct themselves. A meeting intended to critique you will turn into a spotlight of your strengths. Not because of manipulation, but because God is intervening silently in your defense. And hear this clearly. Do not try to expose them yourself. That is not your job. That is not your burden. The one who tries to dig the pit will fall into it. The trap they set will capture them, but only if you don't interfere. Your restraint is the trigger for their exposure. God is not just removing the obstacle. He is removing your need to fight it. This is what it means to be under divine government. You will see victory not through confrontation, but through peace. Not through arguments, but through angelic activity. All you are being asked to do is remain rooted, aligned, anchored. God says, if you don't move out of position, I won't let them move your promise. Type I will not be moved in the comments. Blessing code 5888 now surrounds your mind with peace and your path with clarity. The trap is broken. Your strength is stillness. There is a turning now. Not just in the spirit, but in the narrative. The very atmosphere that once tried to suffocate you is being forced to surrender. The voices that tried to speak over your purpose are falling into silence. The lies that once looked like facts are unraveling. And you, yes, you, are beginning to emerge from the shadows not as a survivor, but as a force. This is not just a breakthrough. This is a rebirth. Heaven is shifting the entire landscape in your favor. You are no longer who they thought you were. They misread your humility as hesitation. They mistook your silence for uncertainty. They assumed that your kindness meant you weren't easy to manipulate. But now, the power within you is beginning to rise, not in arrogance but in divine confidence. Heaven has seen your restraint, and now heaven is releasing your recompense. This isn't just spiritual rescue. This is spiritual revenge, but without you lifting a finger. God is repaying you, not with confrontation, but with confirmation of who you are. Watch this next part unfold. Your name, once whispered in gossip, will now be spoken in rooms of influence. The same systems that were weaponized to stall your progress will now be used to highlight your accuracy, your dependability, your excellence. The same coworker who tried to use a report to trap you, they will be caught in their own web. The email chain they started will become evidence, not against you, but against them. Why? Because the plot had a divine expiration date, and it's already been reached. You are not just being restored, you are being revealed. There is a radiance coming off of you that no protocol can cover, no report can suppress. It's your time now. You're not just an accountant, you are a steward of divine trust. You were placed in your position for such a time as this. The enemy thought they could scare you back into silence. But they didn't realize silence was your weapon. Calm was your covering. Stillness was your shield. And now, that shield is turning into a sword. You are walking into rooms differently now. Not because your job changed it, but because you did. Something in you has shifted. You're no longer asking for recognition. You are carrying it. You don't need the validation of those who doubted you. You've been validated by the one who sees in secret. The fire they tried to burn you with only refined your posture. The pressure that tried to break you only revealed your power. This is what happens when a chosen one stands through adversity. They don't just rise, they become undeniable. You are becoming undeniable. Your presence now carries evidence. Your work now carries weight. Heaven is breathing on everything you touch. That spreadsheet, it will speak. That report, it will stand. That analysis, it will parry prophetic precision. You're not just calculating numbers, you're recalibrating destinies. Because when you walk in divine order, even the date obeys your authority. You may still be in the same position, but watch what shifts around you. Attitudes will change. Eyes will see differently. People who once ignored you will start taking notes. Not because you demanded respect, but because your presence now commands it. You are being elevated in the unseen realm first. That's where true power begins. And once heaven lifts you, no one can lower you. And don't be surprised when favor begins to flow in unexpected directions. A contact you thought was lost will resurface. A denied request will be reconsidered. A project you were removed from will come back under your name. These are signs that the attack failed and the anointing prevailed. This is your shift. The enemy miscalculated your resilience. They thought they were stalling your blessing, but they were only strengthening your foundation. Every delay has become preparation. Every plot has become prophecy. Every misstep has become momentum. You are not rising in spite of the attack. You are rising because of it. Let this be your declaration now. I will not be defined by their plot. I will be elevated by God's purpose. Speak it. Own it. Carry it. You are no longer surviving the system. You are redefining it. Type I am rising in power in the comments. Lesson code 6333 now activates heaven's acceleration over your life. Every shadow has served your rising. This is your elevation season. It is done. Heaven has reviewed the case, weighed the intentions, and reversed the curse. The season of hidden sabotage is over. What was once an invisible chain around your opportunity has now snapped. The blockage is broken. The stagnation is shifting. You are stepping into your next chapter, and it begins not with applause from man, but with approval from heaven. This is your prophetic resolution. The very things that were working against you are now working for you. And the plot that once hovered like a shadow has lost its voice, lost its footing, lost its power. There's movement in your environment, and it's not random. In the next 7 days, something will unfold that reveals the shift. The supervisor who once ignored your contribution will suddenly mention your name with favor. A project you were excluded from will become reliant on your expertise. A file you thought had been overlooked will resurface, and not as a mistake, but as a miracle. These are signs. Lock them. They are confirmations that heaven's gavel has struck the desk, and the final verdict is unblocked. You see, prophetic transformation is not always loud. It's not always announced with thunder. Sometimes it flows quietly, yet powerfully, like oil through the cracks of a broken system, softening what was rigid, releasing what was stuck. That's what's happening now in your workplace, in your relationships, even in your own mindset. You are no longer walking through that office as an employee. You are walking as an emissary of divine order. Your authority is increasing. Your discernment is sharpening. And your favor is multiplying. God is releasing replacements now. The one who schemed against you. Your access is being revoked. Not out of vengeance, but out of divine alignment. They will find themselves unable to locate the levers they once used. Their words will fall flat. Their credibility will begin to crack. Not because you exposed them, but because heaven did. Truth is rising now like morning light, and every lie is being forced to retreat. There is no hiding from divine vindication. But here is the deeper mystery. This was never just about you. Your trial was about those connected to your breakthrough. Your promotion doesn't only benefit you, it sets precedent. It opens the gate for others who were overlooked, others who stayed silent, others who worked in purity while corruption flourished. Your elevation is a prophetic event. It shifts the atmosphere. It breaks cycles. It declares to the entire system, God still honors integrity. Heaven still sees the hidden ones. Expect unusual peace now. Expect divine instruction. Expect late-night clarity that tells you what to say and what to sign. Expect dreams that decode your next step. Because the breakthrough is not just emotional, it is administrative. It will touch your workflow. It will adjust your responsibilities. It may even open a door to another position entirely, one that pays more, demands more, and aligns more deeply with your true assignment. Do not fear the change. This is transformation, not transition. And as you move forward, carry this with you. You are not who you were in the beginning of this battle. You are wiser now, stronger, younger, more spiritually aware. You hear differently. You see differently. You respond differently. That alone is victory. They thought they could block your finances, but they only sharpened your focus. They tried to stain your reputation, but they only spotlighted your calling. They tried to remove you, but they only removed your limitations. Now, all that's left is to receive. Receive the healing. Receive the clarity. Receive the promotion, not just in title, but in confidence, in favor, in atmosphere. God is releasing someone into your life soon who will confirm what you sensed all along. Someone who will say, I always saw it in you, where they tried to tell me otherwise, but I knew better. That is heaven's confirmation in human form. You didn't just pass the test. You transformed in the fire. You emerge as a new creation, forged not by titles or recognition, but by spiritual weight. You carry the scent of one who has walked through betrayal and come out with wisdom, and that wisdom is now your mantle. This was not just warfare. This was refinement. And now the refined one is being released to reign. Type "I receive my transformation" in the comments. Blessing code 7444 now releases your next level. The breakthrough is here, and it has your name on it. Now that the blockage has been identified, confronted, and divinely reversed, heaven waits for your agreement. That's how divine strategy works. It doesn't override your will, it partners with your faith. The moment you come into alignment with this word, not just with your thoughts, but with your action, things begin to accelerate. Your breakthrough was never about just surviving sabotage. It was always about you stepping into active agreement with your anointing. This is your moment. You heard the truth. You've seen the signs. Your spirit knows this word isn't random. It found you for a reason. You've walked through silent sabotage. You've endured the long nights of questioning. You fought the invisible battle with restraint instead of retaliation. And now, the victory is unfolding before your eyes. But to fully step into it, you must engage your spiritual authority. The time for silence is over. Not silence in posture, but silence in declaration. You cannot be passive about what heaven is doing. You must speak into alignment. You must declare into movement. You must type into breakthrough. Why? Because your response is your permission slip to heaven. Your response tells the angels that you're ready. Your agreement confirms to the divine realm that you've heard, received, and chosen to stand on the promise, not just emotionally, but prophetically. So this is your call to action. Declare your freedom from the sabotage. Speak it out loud. No plot can block what God has promised me. Type it publicly as a prophetic act. Heaven honors bold agreement. Comment below with, "I align with heaven's plan for my finances." Pray with intentionality. Don't just react. Respond. And quiet today. Ask heaven to seal the doors that need to close and illuminate the paths you should now take. This is a strategic hour. Write it down. Document the shift. Note the patterns. Journal its changing. What looks small today will become a trail of miracles later. Share the message. There are others in your field, your workplace, your city, walking through sabotage without clarity. Be the voice that breaks their confusion. When you share revelation, heaven multiplies yours. This is not performative. This is prophetic protocol. Many miss their moment because they wait for lightning to strike, when in reality, it's a simple act of faithful obedience that releases the dam. When you declare, when you type, when you align, you tell the heavens, "I am not just listening, I'm moving." Understand this. Heaven is watching how you respond right now. Not because it needs proof of your worth, but because it's preparing the next set of instructions. Your elevation depends on your participation. This next level isn't automatic. It's activated. That's why your voice matters. That's why your posture matters. That's why the words you speak matter. You've been quiet long enough. You've worked silently. You've endured gracefully. And now, your agreement must be vocal. The spiritual realm is listening for the sound of your yes. Not whispered, not hesitant, but full, bold, unshaken. That's the sound that unlocks the doors. That's the sound that commands angels to finish what they've started. That's the sound that causes heaven to release the next instruction. And let this be clear. Your call to action isn't just about this moment. It's about momentum. You're not stepping into one breakthrough. You're stepping into a new flow, a new frequency, a new level of divine downloads and strategic opportunities. This is the first of many doors. But how you handle this one determines how quickly the next opens. Will you engage? Will you declare? Will you claim it? Then do it now. Type "I align with heaven's plan for my finances" in the comments. That one sentence is more than words. It is alignment. It is agreement. It is activation. And as you type it, blessing code 8111 is being released into your atmosphere. This code seals your agreement, multiplies your favor, and signals to your angels, the time is now. Let no hesitation remain. This is not just a word. This is your confirmation. Now act like it. You have endured the whispers. You have survived the silence. You have stood still when everything in you wanted to scream for justice. And now, you emerge not just as a victor, but as the revelation. You are the evidence that God still covers His own. You are the testimony that quiet integrity always outlasts loud deception. What they meant for harm, God has turned into harvest. What they tried to bury, heaven has resurrected in glory. You are not a casualty of corporate sabotage. You are the signpost of spiritual preservation. Let this be sealed in your spirit. You are not a victim. You are the revelation. The warfare was proof, not punishment. The delay was preparation, not denial. And the attempt to break you only revealed the unshakable architecture of your calling. They tested your name, and your name stood. They tampered with your pathway, and your purpose remained untouched. Because no plot formed in shadows can override a destiny formed in light. Now, take a breath and feel this truth. You are free. Free from second-guessing. Free from invisible chains. Free from the need to prove yourself to people who were never qualified to judge your anointing. You don't have to look over your shoulder anymore. The surveillance ends here. The suspicion collapses now. The system tried to label you, but God rewrote the label. The tag they placed on your file is being ripped off in the spirit. And what's being stamped across your destiny instead is one word: redeemed. You are walking into your workplace different now. You are bringing divine confidence, not defensive energy. You're no longer hoping they notice your effort. You know that heaven already has. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. Your peace is not tied to their acceptance. You've tapped into a frequency that is unshaken by their opinions. You walk like one who has been covered. You speak like one who has been cleared. And you rise like one who has been called. Your spiritual rank has changed. Where you were once tolerated, you will now be recognized. Where you were once observed with suspicion, you will now be followed with respect. Not because of titles, but because of presence. Something in your eyes will speak. Something in your tone will carry weight. Something in your walk will signal authority. Not pride, not ego, but the divine assurance of one who has seen the fire and didn't burn. One who has felt the pressure and only became stronger. Let them whisper if they want to. Let them scramble to make sense of your rise. Let them try to figure out how you made it through. They'll check your credentials. They'll review your reports. They'll scroll through emails, hoping to find the magic formula. But what they won't understand is this: you were never rising by their system. You were rising by the Spirit. Heaven chose you, covered you, preserved you. And now, heaven is promoting you. So today, let this be your final word on the matter. I am not the same person who entered this storm. I do not carry the wounds of their schemes. I carry the wisdom of my survival. I am not bitter. I am bolder. I am not broken. I am branded with favor. I do not shrink, I shine. From this day forward, Let your walk reflect your victory. Let your voice echo with certainty. Let your presence speak before you even say a word. Because what they tried to ruin, heaven has restored with interest. This is your moment. Stand in it. Hold it. Live it. And never again question if God saw you, if God heard you, or if God would vindicate you. The evidence is already in motion. The blessing is already on the way. The season has already shifted. Type "I am the evidence of divine vindication" in the comments. Blessing code 9009 is now wrapping this word in finality and fullness. You are sealed. You are steady. You are sent. Let them whisper. Let them wonder. You rise. And you will never fall the same way again.